Hey y'all, it's Alexis Danielle. Welcome back to the pod. Hope you all are feeling great, feeling good. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Really do appreciate you. Today has been interesting, y'all. Today has been an interesting day because I just left court maybe like an hour ago. I had a speeding ticket in 2018. Y'all, it's 2024. I know. I didn't even know they did this. But anywho, got a court case, had a court date, 2018 ticket. So I was in court. Y'all, I don't know nothing about court. I don't know nothing about the legal system. I wasn't even paying attention. I got my tail tucked in my butt today. So, little backstory. I grew up in a household where we always strive to do our best. Um, and then there's always an opportunity for room for improvement. And so I kind of took that and turned it into like a perfectionist idealism. And so now anytime I do something wrong, anytime I do something like not standard or I miss something or I lack something, I go into like this really bad trauma response. And it's like I beat up on myself, I down myself, a whole bunch of stuff. So long story short, y'all, I owed 200 and something dollars. My husband was like, I got you. Thinking I'm going in the court case and thinking I'm going to go into court this morning and I'm going to get percentage off. I did. The judge was like, yeah, you could pay 50%. Now, here's my thing. I thought in my mind, in my little civilian mind, that I was paying 50% and I was done. So I leave the court, and they give me this paper and it has a court date on it. And I was like, okay. Now, the lady says if you don't pay it today or you don't pay something today, then you have to come back to court. Now, y'all, what did my brain say? If I pay 50%, I'm done, right? Absolutely not the case. Absolutely not so. So I get in the car with my nice little paper, telling my mama what happened. I'm just like, yeah, girl, this and this. I only had to pay 50%. So we're good. And so my mama was like, well, they gave you what kind of paper, Lex? And I was just like, some kind of paper. And so I looked at the paper when she said that, because it was like a gut-wrenching feeling of, girl, you just got bamboozled. You just got played, boo. And I look at the paper, y'all. And it was like, you got to come back to court on August the 23rd. And I was like, what am I coming back to court for? So I'm almost home. Literally, I'm about to turn 2 turns and I'm at the house. And I was just like, no, I'm going back. My mom was like, you going to go back today? I was like, absolutely. Because my husband already told me to pay it off. And I'm not coming back down here just to come to court to have to pay again. Absolutely not. If he gave me the opportunity to do it now, I'm going to do it now. And I'm going to be done with it and not have to come back. Girl, y'all, I turn around, get back to the court. And I'm just asking all these questions. So I'm like, okay, what does this mean? If I paid this amount today, right? What does that mean about this court situation? So she gave me the information of saying basically I still had to pay the whole thing in order to not have to come back to court. And if I paid the whole thing, I wouldn't have to show up back at court, which is crazy, y'all. This ticket is 5 years old. This ticket is 5 years old. But I said all of that to say I learned a lesson. The Lord and the Holy Spirit started talking. And it was like, how many times are you going to have to live in the consequence of something that you did years ago? Or something that you did a long time ago because you didn't make the right choice? And then how long from now is your reaping going to be for stuff that you're not doing today? Because the lack of me not paying that ticket has consequenced me and now having to go to court today, 5 years later. Like, I didn't even know that that was still a thing. Like, I thought that was something totally different. 5 years later, I'm here having to pay a ticket. Now, the great thing about grace and mercy, right? Grace was enough and sufficient enough for me today that I had favor with my husband to actually pay my ticket. But y'all, they was like, if you don't pay your ticket today, by 4 o'clock, you going to have a warrant out for you. You need to be paying something today. And baby, I'm looking like, huh? And they meant no games. They was like, we dead serious. You're going to be warranted immediately. It ain't going to be no going to go pay a bail's bond and none of that. We want a cash bond. cash to get you up off of here. And I was just like, oh my God, what the world? So I'm sitting here looking like, Jesus, I could be going to jail. Like, I could be going to court again to get out of jail. Like, I could be in jail and have to get bonded out. I ain't trying to go to jail, y'all. I got too many licenses to be talking about I'm going to jail for a traffic court citation. And the citation is 5 years old. That's wild. But it just made me remember that my lack of laziness today, my epitome of procrastination, my okay with not doing what I need to be doing today, boy, it could be decades. It could be decades down the road of not having what I'm supposed to have. Like my lack of savings and my frivolous spending, I'm living in them consequences today. And that's 5, 4, 3, 2 last year. Like those years ago where I'm living in the consequence of not saving money, not putting enough money away, not making sound decisions on my money, not making sound decisions about my business, not moving to get stuff done in my business, like all of that. And we just have to be careful. Like I said all that for us to be encouraged and to be encouraging to someone to just remember, like you have to live for tomorrow. You live today for tomorrow. You enjoy today, but you live today for tomorrow. If you're sad today and you stay in your sadness, you're going to live with the consequences of not choosing the opposite tomorrow. You're going to live in the consequences. And whether tomorrow is the next day, the next month, the next year, the next decade, the next generation, but your decisions to do what you're doing today will reap consequences, whether they're good or bad. Because we talk about reaping, right? Sowing and reaping. Let's talk about that. Because we talk about sowing and reaping all the time when it comes to the good. Oh, you reap, you sow sparingly, you're gonna reap sparingly. If you sow bountifully, you'll reap bountifully. Right. It starts off if you sow sparingly. So if you're sowing your time sparingly, you're gonna reap nothing. You're not gonna reap a lot. If you're not out there in the field and you're spending time planting seeds in the field, why would you expect a harvest? Why would you expect there be a multitude of things growing up if you only planted 4? We all know that all the seeds don't come and plant something and produce a harvest. But like they say in the world all the time, you miss 100% of the shots you never throw up. How much are we going to miss out on because we're not taking advantage of the gift, which is the present? We're not taking advantage of the opportunity we have to do it now. Because who's to say the opportunity will come back around again for us to do this? For us to live this life? For us to get these ideas out in the world? For us to see the fruit of our labor? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy to die and not see the fruit of our labor. And God gives us the opportunity to do that every single time. But how many times are we going to fumble it? How many times are we going to fumble that opportunity? How many times we're going to let situations and people and stress and the lack of cause us to just be like, I'm not doing anything. You could absolutely be doing something. God has called us all to absolutely be doing something. Get it done. And make sound and wise decisions, because those consequences, they're going to come later on. And you never know who those consequences are going to affect. You don't know who's going to have to reap from what you have done. Like now my husband has to, and he doesn't have to, but he feels obligated and he feels and deems it necessary to be there for me in the midst of my bad decision making. He's and I'm like, I can't count that for granted. Like, I can't count that as small. I can't count that as mediocre. I cannot not count that as something. That is something. That is something that I don't take for granted. I see that as God's grace and God's mercy and the favor of the Lord, where it placed it on his heart to be like, I'll pay it. Don't worry about it. Y'all, Be careful what you do. Be careful. Be very meticulous and particular how you walk, how you talk, where you go, how you handle yourself in every environment, in every situation. You don't know the consequences. Whether there be a bad reaping or a good reaping, you're going to reap something. Treating people wrong could reap you later on where somebody else looks at you crazy and be like, nah, I ain't helping you. I remember when you talked about old girl the other day, or you talked about him like a dog. No, I'm good. Never would put myself in that predicament for you to talk about me. Absolutely not. And that might be your breakthrough and your next blessing. That might be the person that puts you in rooms you can't get in, or the person that pops off your idea, or the person that invests in your idea. You never know who those people are. In the same way, be good to all people and show love. Jesus commanded us to love, right? That love takes you a longer way than whatever anything else you could do to people. Just loving on people. For instance, let's talk about Ruth. Ruth just being there for her mother-in-law, not even her mom. This is her husband, her deceased husband's mom. And just being there for her when everyone else had left her. Her being there caused her to reap and be in favor in places she never thought she was going to be. Her decision for that day blessed her for the rest of her life to be married to the richest man in that area. And even though the richest man was her ultimate blessing, the middle blessings, the blessings in between, like she was like, I'm going to work. She found favor in the field of working just because of what she had done. And then that favor kept building on itself to the point that she ended up marrying her Boaz. Marrying Boaz. Somebody that truly loved her, truly cared about her, thought she was gorgeous, made sure she was taken care of, and everybody else that she loved was taken care of. But her decision off of one day saying, nope, I'm being led to stay with you, so I'm going to stay with you. Yes, I have plenty of options to go get married, to go marry somebody else. I mean, Ruth was cute now. Let's not get it twisted. Ruth had to be cute because the Boaz is like, yeah, I know. It's some other women around here. There's some other people working, but her? No, I heard about her. I like her. Run that. Take care of her. Drop some stuff intentionally for her. Don't be worried about nobody else. Just drop for her. I need that. And for him to been plotting and planning on her, because he plotted. He came up with a whole case to make sure he married her for real. And did it the right way. But it was all based off of her making a decision and her reaping from what she had already did with Naomi. Now, what does it look like when we don't do certain things? Ain't no telling. Ruth could have been in a situation where she got taken advantage of because she was a woman. They could have died of hunger because women weren't supposed to be working like that and making that much money. Like, her life as well as Naomi's life depended in their future, depended on her just making one decision. One decision of treating somebody right. One decision of following her, what the Spirit had given her. One decision. One decision. And she made that decision based off of what was going on in their relationship. Just being kind, being loving. Because even though her husband wasn't there, she still loved her mother-in-law and didn't want to see her by herself. So let's be reminded of what we're supposed to be doing. Let's be reminded of the good consequences that come out of our actions. Let's be reminded to do the things that we're supposed to be doing right now. Don't wait. There's no promises. There's no guarantees. The next second's not guaranteed. Y'all been sitting here listening to me for the past 14 and a half minutes. And there's no guarantee you get through all of this. There's no guarantee on all of it. But there is a guarantee that we will reap exactly what we've sown. That there will be a consequence for every decision, every word, every thought, every deed that we do. Let us reap in good. Let us just do good so we can reap in good. Let us not be deceitful. Let us not be rude. Let us not be angry. Let us be graceful and merciful, sweet and kind. Because that's what we've been asked to do. That's what we've been called to do. That we be loving towards one another. Let us do that. Let us do that so we can anticipate the goodness. So we can anticipate a good harvest and reap a good harvest. Because we've sowed a good harvest. And we sowed into expectations of a good harvest. Don't expect anything if you don't sow at all. If you don't sow at all, say, oh, I'm not going to do anything. Don't even expect to get anything. Right? For sure. But I love y'all. Thank you for spending this 15 minutes with me. I appreciate y'all. I hope I enlightened some people. Definitely make sure you subscribe. Comment if you're listening to it anywhere where you can comment. Share it with somebody. Share this with somebody. Share me with someone. Thank you for spending space and place with me. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. I love y'all. Until next time.